Next derived part that we will learn is called the isosurface. An isosurface is a surface representing a constant value scalar function. An isosurface node has its own properties and pop-up menu, and it is located in the derived parts node of the simulation object tree. The exact form of the output of the isosurface depends on the dimensionality of the input parts. Input data consisting of 3-dimensional cells will result in output isosurfaces. Input data consisting of 2-dimensional cells will result in isolines. And input data consisting of 1-dimensional data will result in points. Again, we can use regions, boundaries, and other parts to create isosurface. How do we create an isosurface? To create an isosurface, right-click the derived parts node. Click on New Part and then on Isosurface. Typically, an in-place dialog can be used for this process, and it will appear as soon as you execute this pop-up menu action. But if the conditions for activating this dialog are not met, then this action causes the new isosurface to appear in the simulation tree immediately. Then define the part using the properties. Let us learn how to create isosurface using the in-place dialog box. During isosurface creation process, a new in-place dialog appears in the Edit tab of the simulation window. Using this, we can create new isosurface. Click the Input Parts button to select the input parts that you want to include in the isosurface. Specify the characteristics of the isosurface with the features. This is the scalar drop-down list. This list will select the scalar field function as the basis for the isosurface. The contents of the scalar list depend on the models that you selected. This is the scalar range group box. It is used for automatic selection of the scalar range. If we select min, it sets lowest scalar value. If we select max, it sets highest scalar value. Then we can use the query button. It will instruct *CCM+ to probe the selected scalar and fill in the values. Then there is the extraction mode drop-down list. We will discuss options of that. First, we have single value. This extracts selected scalar data from a single isosurface. We also have iso value. This is available when single value is selected. You can enter the single iso value here or use the value that is generated by *CCM+ when you click the query button. *CCM+ calculates this value as the average of minimum and maximum values. Third is multiple ranges option. This will extract selected scalar data from multiple isosurfaces that are spaced evenly within a specified range. We have the following text boxes available for entering values. Number of isosurfaces entry. This sets the number of equally spaced isosurfaces. Minimum iso value. In this, we enter the lowest scalar value or use the value that *CCM+ generates when you click the query button. Maximum iso value. Here, we enter the highest scalar value or use the value that *CCM+ generates when you click the query button. Multiple or arbitrary option. This extracts scalar data from multiple isosurfaces corresponding to a set of scalar values that you specify with numeric entries. This option makes an iso values text box available. The units can be changed by typing them in after the values. How does the isosurface look like after creation? Once you have finished the creation process, rotate and zoom in the display to get a clear view of the isosurface. An example is shown in the figure. The next entity that we will see is the streamline. So, what is the streamline? The streamline part represents particle paths that you select within a region computed from a vector field. A streamline part node has its own properties and pop-up menu and is contained in the derived parts node of the simulation object tree. The streamline part may be computed from any vector field, but generally it makes sense to construct streamlines from a velocity field. A streamline part has a seed object which defines the particle seed points. There are three types of seeds. A part seed, which takes its point from an existing part. A line seed, which takes its points from a line. A point seed, which allows the definition of either a single point or a cloud of points with a given radius. Let us see the streamline object in detail. Streamlines are calculated using second-order Runge-Kutta integration. This is accessible through RK nodes in the object tree and can integrate both forward and backward. The integration is controlled by certain parameters. Let us see those. 1. Maximum propagation. This specifies the maximum length of the streamline in units of cell length. 2. Max steps. This specifies the maximum number of steps to execute in the integration. What will decide when the streamline ends? When any of these above parameters are satisfied, the streamline will terminate. A streamline may also terminate because it exited the domain or entered a stagnation region. What will control the integration quality? Integration quality is controlled by the initial integration step property, which is the step size that is used by the integration. If this value is smaller than the average cell length, the resulting streamline likely contains many more points than desired. But if the step size is too large, cells may be skipped during the integration, resulting in a streamline of degraded quality. In the image shown, particles are released from a line seed and a line tool is used to assist with positioning the line endpoints. How do we create a streamline? To create a streamline, right-click the derived parts node. Then select New Part and Streamline. Typically, an in-place dialog would be used for this process, and it would appear as soon as you execute this pop-up menu action. However, if the conditions for activating this dialog are not met, then this action causes the new streamline part to appear in the simulation tree immediately. Then we have to define the part using the properties. Let us see how to create streamline using the in-place dialog. Depending on certain conditions, while creating streamline, an in-place dialog box may appear. This dialog helps to define the derived part. Let us see the steps in this process. 1. Click the Input Parts button to select the input parts that you want to include in the streamlines. 2. From the vector field drop-down list, select the vector type. 3. From the seed mode drop-down list, select one of the 3 available types of seeds. Options that we have are A. Part seed, which is the default. B. Point seed. C. Line seed. Once we have finished the creation process, rotate and zoom in the display to get a clear view of the streamline part. An example is shown here.